Howdy folks, and welcome back to Pool School. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to backwash and recharge your Diatomaceous Earth or DE filter and recharge it. And while you're at it, I'm going to show you also how to check to see if you have any damaged or torn grids in that filter. So what do you say we get to it? Alrighty folks, before we get started, I want to thank you once again for watching this video. Remind you to like it if you do, subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, and please share my channel with everyone you know who owns a pool. Also, don't forget to check out my membership website, poolschooler.com. It'll come across the bottom of the screen right here, poolschooler.com. It is full of more members-only exclusive content that will help you save even more money servicing your pool yourself. Okay, I'm at one of my clients' pools, and before we actually get into the process of backwashing the filter, I want to talk about a couple things that you want to make sure you have covered before you start the backwashing process. Number one, you got to make sure that there's enough water in the pool. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but again, I've seen it to where the pool level is too low, and as you start to backwash it, you run out of water, and then that skimmer area, you notice that skimmer area right there ends up getting dry, and the water level drops below that, and then you can't recharge your filter. So make sure that there's plenty of water in the pool. What does that mean? In this case, the general rule is I want to cover half of the opening of that skimmer area, okay? And again, in this case, it's halfway up the tile line. That gives me plenty of water, so I know that I'm good on that. So that's number one. Make sure you have enough water in your pool before you start the backwashing process. Number two, it's a good idea to have your pump basket emptied. So I'm going to empty the pump basket. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video on that, and I'll put a link in the description below this video so you can learn how to empty your pump basket correctly. And I'm going to do that really quick without you watching. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my pump basket emptied, and I'm going to restart my pump. But before I do, because I want to reprime it, I want to prime it and get the water in there and get the air out of that, I'm going to actually open up the suction more to the skimmer, so it helps me prime the pump quicker, and it's going to allow me better water flow for when I backwash and recharge. So I'm going to leave it there. But remember where you had it. It was here. This is where my vacuum is. This is my skimmer. And I'm going to move it a little bit, but I'm going to make note of where I put it, or where I had it before, so I can put it back there. So I'm going to open it up like that, so I get a little more skimmer suction. I'm going to fire this up, and while it's turning on and pump and priming, I'm going to take my backwash hose and unroll it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so my pump is reprimed, and I'm going to stop it now and hit stop. And then hopefully you know how to turn on and off your pump yourself, so you can do that on your own. Okay, I've got my backwash hose stretched out, and typically I would backwash this right into the grass, but they just overseeded. In Arizona, we overseed our lawns for the winter because our summer grass goes dormant and then it's all brown. So they overseeded, so I don't want to wash away their grass seed. So anyway, I'm going to run it over to the rocks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the backwash valve. So I had the pump running, I shut it off. Okay, this is the first cycle. I'm going to open the backwash valve. Pretty simple. Got to twist this, lift it. All right, and I'm going to start the pump, and I'm going to let it run for about a minute to a minute and a half until the thing gets clear. So watch this as we do this. I'm going to fire it up and put it back to start. Hit the quick clean. It should fire up. And you'll notice when it starts to run, the hose fills up. And you'll notice that water coming out is going to get kind of dirty and cloudy. There it is. You'll notice it's kind of cloudy and dirty. That's all the dirty DE being backwashed out of the filter. Okay? And again, I let it run for about a minute until it's clear. And it's got to be clear for a few seconds before I just shut it off. So I'm going to let it run a little bit. I'm going to let you watch it in this case, because I want you to see it. Obviously, some of it's running into the grass. There's no way to stop that. We're going to go about a minute until it runs clear. Now it's clear already, but the little chunks are still going to come out. So I'm going to let it run for a little bit more, and then I'm going to shut it off, and I'm going to shut the backwash valve. So hold tight, and we'll be right back. Okay, so it's been about a minute. I'm going to stop the filter pump. Let it balance out the pressure. Then I'm going to close the backwash valve. And then I'm going to fire the pump back up again and let it run for about a minute with the backwash valve closed. So turn it back to start. Quick clean on. Fires up. And then let it run for about a minute. I'm not going to bore you with that. Remember, I'm running it with the backwash valve closed for about a minute. All right, it's been about a minute. I just shut the pump back off. I'm going to open the backwash valve again. This is number two, cycle number two. I'm opening the backwash valve. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it on, let it run. It's probably going to need to run a little less than a minute this time because there's not as much DE in there anymore. So I'm going to turn it on. It's going to backwash for about 30-40 seconds, and then I will shut it off again. So there it goes. Again, the water's not as dirty, but there is a little bit, as you see the water's color, there's still some dirt, DE in there, so we're getting that out a second time. So this is cycle number 2. And I'm going to cycle this, I'm going to do this process 3 times, okay? Meaning backwash it, shut it off, let it run with the backwash valve closed, then backwash it again, stop it, let it run with the backwash valve closed, and then do that a 3rd time. So I'm doing that cycle 3 times before I recharge. So 3 times, remember that. Okay, so I close the backwash valve after shutting the pump off, and I'm running it again with the backwash valve closed. I'm getting ready to go into cycle number 3. So remember, I backwash, then close the valve, let it run. That's cycle 1. Backwash, close the valve, let it cycle 2. Let it run for a little bit with the backwash valve closed. That's 2. And the 3rd one, which I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to run it and backwash it, and then that'll be it. Then I can recharge. Okay, so I just opened the backwash valve, turn on the pump again. We're going to let it backwash again, and you'll notice very little DE is going to be in there. Just a little bit, and it's already clear. Okay, so it's a little bit, there's little chunks. Let that run for about 30 or 40 seconds, and then I'll shut the pump off. And again, this is the end of the 3rd cycle. I'll shut the pump off, let it pressure equalize, close the backwash valve, and then I can fire the pump back up and get ready to recharge it. One more thing before we get into recharging the filter with DE is the scoop, okay? So this is a Super Pro scoop, and it lists on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description below this video, so if you want to order one of these, you can. It lists as a 1-pound scoop. However, I was always skeptical because I used to get these blue scoops that were half the size of this, and those were considered a pound. So I decided to do a little test myself. So this again lists as a 1-pound scoop, but I took it and I put it on a scale. I filled it with water. It was over 2 pounds, even with the weight of the scoop itself. I weighed it. It still came to over 2 pounds. I put trichlor granules into it. Still came to over 2 pounds. I put DE into it, and again, I pack the DE in, I scoop it really full, and I let it come out the top about this far, and it still came to over 2 pounds. So again, I'm gonna consider this a 2-pound scoop, okay? Not a 1 pound, but a 2-pound scoop. And here is the formula. For every 10 square feet of filtration area that your filter lists at, you're gonna put in 1 pound. So if your filter has a filtration area of, let's say, 46 square feet, that is 1 pound per 10 square feet. So I'm looking at a total of 4 pounds of DE in that filter. This scoop is 2 pounds, so that means I'm only using 2 scoops of this to recharge the filter. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so I have gone ahead and finished the cycling of my backwashing cycles. I'm going to start the pump back up. There it goes. And again, I'm still leaving the suction so that about 50% of it at least is going to the skimmer, because that's where I'm going to put the DE. This filter is actually a 38 square feet. So it's 38 square feet. So that means, again, I'll put no more than 2 scoops of that 2-pound scoop of DE in the filter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the skimmer basket area. I can take the skimmer basket out and I can empty that while I'm here. And remember what I said at the beginning of this video, I'm also going to show you how to check while you're doing this to see if you have any damaged or torn grids in your filter. And here's what you're going to do. I want you to pay attention to this. The pump is running, it's prime, everything's functioning, we have good suction, you can see the water moving in there. I'm going to take one of these scoops and I'm going to fill it with DE and I'm going to dump it into the skimmer. And when I do that, pay very close attention to the returns. You notice there's a couple returns right over there. And I'm going to keep an eye on them. So I'm going to get my scoop full of this DE. There's my DE. I'll pour it into the skimmer area. I'm going to just watch for a second as it goes in there. So now it's going into the pump. It's going into the filter. It's filtering through. And I'm going to watch those return ports. If I see any white, cloudy water coming out of there, it tells me that I've probably got a damaged or torn grid, or more than one torn grid. And that's how you can test to see if you have any torn grids. It's a really good thing to do because that way you're not going to constantly be dumping DE in your pool if you have a torn grid or more than one torn grid. So I'm just going to do that, and that helps me decide, notice whether or not I have a damaged grid. In this case, I have no DE blowing back in the pool, so I'll do my second scoop, and then I will be done. So, get my second scoop, fill it up. There it is. It's a little overfilled. And pour it in there. And in order to kind of clear the powder off, I'm going to dip this in the water. And then just kind of pour it in there. And that cleans out my scoop for me, okay? And again, keep an eye on those returns again. See if there's any DE blowing back into the pool. If there's no cloudy water coming out of there, you're good to go. Now let's go shut the pump off, adjust the suction again, and we're done. Don't forget to put your skimmer basket back in your skimmer. Close the lid for safety. And back over to the pump. I'm going to adjust the suction back to where it was. And then I can I'm going to let that run because it's on quick clean. I can just shut it off if I want to, but I have it on quick clean. So just leave it there. And if you want to just shut it off, that's fine. Just don't override your system. And I want you to also notice this. A lot of times you have a pressure gauge on your on your filter. Pay attention to where it is after you've backwashed it, okay? And that's your starting point. And sometimes they have a start and stop dial that you can turn. This one has a little, that you can take it off. It's hard to see, but I just pay attention to where it is. And so I'll kind of I can't even see what it says. But anyway, sometimes you can use a little gauge to help you know what the pressure is, and when the pressure gets to a certain amount, you can know it's time to backwash. Typically, I backwash my DE filters between every 4 and 6 weeks. So there you go. It's that simple, folks. So there you go, folks. That is my video on how to backwash and recharge a DE filter, and in the process, be able to check to see if you have any torn or damaged grids. Hope it made sense. If you have any questions or comments, remember you can leave them in the comment section below this video, or you can email me directly. My email address will come across the bottom of the screen here. It is kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Once again, kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check out my membership website, poolschooler.com. And until we meet again, remember, have fun, be safe, and always watch those kids and elderly folk and pets around water. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.